guard, halt. Cornet, hard. Color guard, post colors. Preset, hard. Cornet, hard.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are fortunate to have our band represented with a woodwind sextet arrangement of God Bless America. Welcome staff, students, and community members to our 2022 Veterans Day Assembly. It has been a couple of years since we've been able to gather in person and honor the sacrifices our veterans have made for our country. The Oxford Dictionary defines freedom as the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. We are free to study what we want and to speak our minds because of the sacrifices our veterans have made for our freedom. Without men and women willing to fight for what they believe in, the world as we know it would be a much darker, different place. It is important that we never forget the sacrifices and never take our freedom for granted. Today is our day to honor our veterans. To continue our program, it is my honor to introduce our speaker for today. Senior Master Sergeant Keith Bailey is currently the Superintendent and NCOIC of the Heavy Mobile Equipment Maintenance Shop, 200th Red Horse Squadron, Detachment 1, Ohio Air National Guard, Mansfield, Ohio. Mr. Bailey ensures vehicles, equipment, tools, parts, and manpower are mission ready to support the 200th Red Horse Squadron for state and federal demands. Mr. Keith Bailey is from New London and currently resides here. He graduated from New London High School in 1998. During his high school career, he was involved with Spanish club, choir, golf, wrestling, baseball, and student council. He entered the Ohio Air National Guard in 1998. He was initially assigned to the 179th Maintenance Squadron, Mansfield, Ohio, where he served as an aerospace maintenance craftsman from 1998 to 2008. He then transitioned to the 200th Red Horse Combat Engineering Squadron as a heavy mobile equipment mechanic in 2008, assisting the formation of the 200th RHS Detachment 1. In 2019, Mr. Bailey became the Work Center Superintendent for the 200th Red Horse Detachment 1. He is a highly decorated combat veteran and deployed in support of Operation Noble Eagle, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation Enduring Freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, Senior Master Sergeant Keith Bailey.
Thank you for that introduction. That was awesome. Because that's not what I gave you, so you must have really made it nicer than what I gave you, didn't you? Like she said, my name's Senior Master Sergeant Keith Bailey. I'm the heavy mobile equipment superintendent at the 200th Red Horse currently. I've been in for 24 years. I'm here to represent the Ohio Air National Guard and the Air Force. I forgot I got it. All right, so when I joined the Air National Guard in 1998, my idea was to use it for college. My main goal was to go in as firefighting. They didn't have what I wanted when I enlisted. So they said, what about a C-130 mechanic? And I said, geez Louise, I don't know if I can do that, but I'll give it a try. So, growing up in a family-owned car dealership, it was just, I knew I could handle the mechanics of it. So I joined as a C-130 mechanic. Immediately when I got back from basic, we started doing C-130s have a lot of state partner, I should say the 179th have a lot of state partnerships. Stateside, U.S. territories, and we have countries that we support, like Latvia and a few other countries in Europe, Puerto Rico, Guam, stuff like that. And each state kind of has their own capabilities, and then that's what we do. So we went down to Puerto Rico. It was a Coronet Oak operation that came out of Panama, and we started doing missions. I'm gonna throw my timer on because I'll be sitting here rambling forever. All right. But anyways, we did some missions down there. Immediately after 9/11, the 179th was sent over to Uzbekistan. A lot of you maybe have seen that movie, The 12 Soldiers, right? So when they started going into that area, they just started sending airplanes. We didn't really have much of a direction, but they were just like, we got to get people here, 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 and here. So that was my first deployment, and a big deployment. We did a lot of small TDYs, they call them. But the deployment in Uzbekistan, we started bouncing around, sucking up different types of missions to try to be effective and help out the cause. So we did that in 2000, and then I had an opportunity at that time to become full-time. So in 01, directly after that deployment, I became full-time. So I work out there at the base every day. I wear the uniform every day, just like I was active duty. It's a full-time Air National Guard position, right? So C-130, still C-130 mechanic. We're flying all over the place, doing multiple missions. And then in 08 or 05, Mansfield lost their C-130s, and they were going to a different mission, and the Red Horse stood up. So I started doing some research about the Red Horse and the mission and what they do and what I can be in the Red Horse. So the Red Horse, if you don't know, the Red Horse is nothing more than an acronym like all the other military words, but it stands for the Rapid Engineer Deployable Heavy Operational Repair Squadron Engineers. So basically it's a combat construction company for the Air Force. So you have Army Corps Engineers, you got the Navy Seabees, and the Red Horse is they have civil engineering, right, in the Air National Guard and in the Air Force, but the Red Horse, we wear a red hat. There's Sophia, hold my red hat up there. So sometimes you'll see us wearing these red hats. So we're the only ones that are allowed to wear those red hats in uniform, the Red Horse, and that was Brigadier General Meredith made that call back in Vietnam when Red Horse stood up. There's a big history on that. You should look it up, Google it. But I decided to do Red Horse. I'm like, oh man, what's Red Horse do, right? We do humanitarian. They build, right? I like building. I like seeing that satisfaction of having something completed after it's done, right? So the C-130s, I never felt fulfilled as a military member because it was like, all right, I'm fixing the airplanes, engines are running, they can fly their mission, and then the pilots go and get all the glory, right? And they're like, oh. They just drop all the equipment out, and I didn't really feel like that was my position. So, like I said, join the Red Horse. So, Red Horse, we're combat engineers. We go to places that we can't send civilians, and it's harm's way, right? So we got to be in up-armored bulldozers, up-armored. So we have all the equipment that can cozy, and we can do anything. That's what Red Horse is designed to do. We airdrop, right? We have air assault guys. They drop in out of the helicopter. We set up security. We do another perimeter, we drop in more equipment, more people, and we just keep going, and then all of a sudden there's a base in Afghanistan. And then, once there's a base in Afghanistan, then what do? We come in and we blow a bunch of stuff up because we got demolition, we got pavers, we got asphalt pavers, so they go out, we can make rocks, we got quarry operations. Next thing you know, we're building runways, and then we have a runway built for them. And that's, right, so and then, not to mention just the overseas stuff, but the things that they were involved in stateside, right? So humanitarian stuff. For instance, just within the last, I don't know, 5 years, we've been absolutely busy. I mean, everybody knows what's been going on in the world and in stateside and everything else. But when I joined the Red Horse, my big deployment came up. I went over, I had to do a 15-week training in California, and that was right after Sophia was born, right? So they didn't want me to call them out in here, but I did. Sophia was born, and then I was in training. I missed her first birthday, right? And I'm like, oh man, son of a gun. So we had to celebrate it 15 weeks later. That's what we do, right? So, and then I go overseas, and my wife. And that's the other thing. The only reason I've been able to be up here for 24 years is having family support. Like, you can't make a career in the military and being gone, not knowing when, without having a support staff right at home and good loving family that can stick around. That's why I've stayed here in New London, and I got family and friends and everybody's helping. So then I go overseas, my wife's pregnant, and And this is like, wow, man, did I make a good decision? I just joined the Red Horse, and they're sending me all over the country, and my wife's pregnant, and she was just about ready to have Avery, which is the other one right there. They don't make call Avery. She was, when I got home, she was 7 months old. When I left, Aim was pregnant. When I come home, Abe was 7 months old. So, a lot of weird sacrifices that we had to do, but that's what I chose to do. So since 2019, what I did, just since then, the Red Horse, Puerto Rico had an earthquake, right? So this is the stuff, all those other years, I got tons more stories, but we don't have time for that, right? But all those other leads up to that. So all the training that we do as Red Horse, next thing you know, we're tasked to go to Puerto Rico because they had an earthquake. So Red Horse 200, this is just 200, our domestic capability is the DERBIS. It's a disaster bed down, relief bed down system. So each system can do 150 beds. And what we would do is they have bathrooms, latrines, showers, washer and dryers, and we literally set up a tent city anywhere. So they'll convoy us in, fly us in. Hurricanes, right? We did the same thing in Puerto Rico a few years back with Hurricane Maria, maybe, I think. So we go in there, real quick, long story short, we put in there, we've set up this tent city in a soccer field, and then Army and the rest of whoever else is there to help support medical staff or whatever has a place to stay, because usually it means there's no power, there's no running water. You know, Toledo crisis, we helped with the water Toledo crisis when the algae bloom was really bad. Then the COVID response stuff started. Right, everybody's at home working school from home, you know, and everything. And then here I go, I got to get sent down to the EMA office to work. There was 3 or 4 of us, Air Force, some Army, 3 Army staff, and then in a small little think tank, and we basically tried to logistically think about how to set up the ACS sites, the alternate care sites that they were trying to put in place all over Ohio for the overflow. So we started doing that. I was down there for about 3 or 4 months running, then we went to the prisons and helped thin out the population, the sick, and setting up tents in their infield. And then ProMedica just recently, the last part of the rush for Ohio was to help in the hospital. So I went up to ProMedica in Toledo, and I was the patient transport for about 3 months. Fortunately, it was close enough to drive home here and there, but most of the time it was long hours, and there was just no way I could get back and get back to the hospital. But that's the stuff that Red Horse started doing. So that's what I like now. That's what I enjoy. I like seeing that real time, you know, something that affected somebody. You know, I helped them through something, and it just felt better to be that way. Okay, well, that's enough of me rambling. All right, so I got something wrote down here that I'd like to say. First, I want to thank you all for joining me today as we honor the brave men and women from all walks of life who have defended our nation throughout our history. Veterans Day is a day to honor and celebrate all of those who have served and continue to serve our nation. Across the world, America's military members are defending freedom, our way of life, often in remote or dangerous areas. We're deployed overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we're stationed across Europe and across the Pacific. We're fighting, that was another thing, Guam. We go to Guam a lot, and I signed a thing with Public Affairs that I wouldn't get into it, but we've been over in Guam a lot. But anyways, we're fighting wildfires in California. We're responding to hurricanes in Florida and the Caribbean. We're citizens, soldiers, and airmen. We're volunteers. We're Americans. We're veterans. Each year we set this day aside across the country to celebrate, pay tribute to America's veterans for their devotion, patriotism, selfless service, and sacrifice. It is their loyalty to our country and their great courage that have made us what we are today, the land of the free and the home of the brave. We say thank you, not only to them, but also to their families who go about their daily lives while their loved ones are serving, whether they're across town, across the country, across the world. Regardless of the military branch of veterans they served, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines, this day belongs to all of them and to the vast generations of patriots. From the Minutemen who won our independence to today's warriors fighting aggression all over the world, the generations of patriots who dedicate themselves to the defense of our country to make us stronger and more resilient as a nation. Each veteran has a part of that proud legacy, and they have served with honor and dignity. They have served in different places and in different ways, but they have all served. They have not only fought our wars, but they have preserved the peace, whether faraway lands or here at home. They have lived not so common lives under a common banner, a love for the country and service to our nation. Therefore, it's fitting that we pause this nation to recognize their services and their sacrifices. Since World War II, an estimated 26 million Americans have patrolled the skies, guarded the shores, served on the front lines, the flight lines, and the supply lines. Right now, our military members work around the clock as they build bases, load and unload cargo, patrol dangerous streets, and launch aircraft to support worldwide operations. Currently, members of the military are not only fighting insurgents in the Middle East, but they're continuing to participate in many humanitarian efforts across the globe, as well as helping to rebuild infrastructure after devastating weather events. Right now, all around the country, veterans have served as teachers, doctors, engineers, social workers, community leaders, police and fire, elected officials, and even our own family members. They continue to serve our country, our communities, by making positive impacts, building stronger futures, and inspiring future generations to come. On Veterans Day, many of you ask, how do I honor a veteran? In a short term, a very simple thank you for your service is generally well received and is a very respectful remark. How do you think you can honor a veteran in long term? Just as we took an oath when we joined the military, you too can take a pledge and be a good citizen here in New London, to Ohio, and to the United States of America. You can pledge to work hard, you can seek to understand each other, create interaction in your classrooms, to be a leader within your school and community, and to surround yourself by the right people who help you make proactive, healthy choices in your life. Begin with an end in mind. Understand that good decisions need to be made for your future success. Sadly, one bad decision leads to the next. Honor a veteran by choosing the hard right and not the easy wrong. Just as soldiers and airmen were sometimes called to duty to support the state of Ohio and the United States of America, I'm calling on each one of you to duty. When you recognize peers making bad choices, speak up. You hold the power to convince your friends and peers to help make better decisions with their lives. Just having somebody to talk to is sometimes all it takes to help keep someone or even your friend safe. This commitment to keeping yourselves and others safe will not only contribute to a safer Ohio, but is a long-term way for you to pay respect to the veterans within your community. I'm asking you not only to honor Americans, but help spread the message. Be a leader in your classroom and in your neighborhood here in New London. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey, for your time today and your service to our country. Mrs. Held's ninth grade English students recently wrote poems about what it means to be an American. This is what it means to them.
Stay unbroken and unite. Being an American should make you proud and strong. Use that strength to hold on tight. Help America win its fight. As long as we stay united, we can't go wrong. We the people sounds like a beautiful song. America continues to unite. Stay unbroken and America will be all right. Despite every tragedy, we shall still get along. A diverse, unified country is as good as gold. Everyone is an immigrant, it just depends on if they are new or old. America has had more than one incident, but yet the people stay strong and bold. America having equality is a great fulfillment. All Americans contribute and make their own indent.
Agnes and Simon Klempa. Great-great-grandma Agnes Ann from Czechoslovakia, coming to this country for a better life, didn't know she would meet her love and be a wife. Simon Klempa, leaving behind back in Austria, settling in Ohio Valley and Bel Air. Simon was an owner of a bar for money. Agnes Ann was a baker and used honey. Raising 4 children would be kind and fair. Their hopes and dreams were achieved. One of their sons became a Marine. Fighting in World War II to protect what he believed, Richard fought in Normandy at 18. Returning home a hero, well received, a proud American family fit for the big screen.
Our ancestors all had a great dream. All they wanted was to be free. They left everything and sailed the sea. When we all work together, we make a great team. For our country, we have done the extreme. When it comes to what we believe, there are many who won't agree. But the light of hope will always be. For our flag will always fly high. United our nation will stand together. The stars and stripes will never die. We will never call surrender. Our American spirit is not shy, so we will protect our country forever.
We Are All Equal by Rowan Thomas. Split by culture, tradition, religion, and races, we are all divided by our difference and dislikes for others. Although we are all immigrant because of our ancient fathers and mothers, all of us should learn to be united so that together we are laces. We can be described as America if tragedies are the cases. In fact, we are the truly united during the devastation and the forgotten about our doers. When we consider each other as sisters and brothers, respect should be flourished for those who come from different native places. The exiles come from their countries in hope of the American dream. They have changed our country and achieved a common good. From innovation to opportunity, the United States has become a hope beam. Immigration did not bring down America, but with newfound strength, the country stood. Equality is a powerful force, which should be the next generation's gleam. All of us have the ability and the heart to realize that immigrants help us, and we should.
Oh, say, can you see our words we all know? These special words have an important meaning, but not just because they are gleaming. They aren't just the stars at night that glisten and glow. In the song of the free, we may all know. The Star-Spangled Banner is always worth believing. What we must know is our ancestors' lovely dreaming. To create a land in which both the poor and rich go, together as a nation we stand, to hold together love and peace, is what all those years ago we had planned. Together looking for peace, we stumbled and released our sorrow from our troubled past to stand upon this land we call home, the home of the free, by Aria Reina.
We are fortunate to have our high school choir performing Letters from War. You are good and you're brave. What a father that you'll be someday. Make it home, make it safe. Set your dad right in each day. You are good and you're brave. What a father that you'll be someday. Make it home, make it safe. Set your dad right in each day.
And then 2 years later, autumn leaves all around. The car pulled in the driveway, and she fell to the ground.
Down stepped a captain, where a boy used to stay. He said, Mom, I'm following orders from all of your letters, and I've come home again. God his legs on letters from home, letters from At this time of our program, we would like to recognize different branches of our armed forces. Please stand when your branch is called. Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines, Army National Guard, and Air National Guard. Thank you for your sacrifice and service. And now we will ask everyone to stand as we prepare to retire the colors.
Color guard, and right shoulder, hard. Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Order, hard. Flag bearers, retrieve the colors. Reset, hard. Order, hard. Bridge order, hard. About, face. Forward, hard.
I would like to thank everyone for coming today. It means a lot for both our staff and students to see the individuals in our community who have given so much for us. At this time, we are asking all of our veterans to line up in the hallway so New London Middle School and high school students can show our appreciation.